Mr. President, it is my pleasure to specifically present to you the Theodore Herzl Medallion, rarely given by the Zionist Organization of America. We've only given this to Lord Balfour, Winston Churchill, President Truman, David Ben-Gurion, Golda Meir, and now we'll be giving it to you. I'll formally introduce you. I just want to remind you of a few things that haven't been said. Mr. President gave us a groundbreaking memorandum of understanding with Bahrain to end anti-Semitism, promote respect and coexistence between the Arabs and the Jewish people. An executive order to strengthen Title VI to protect Jewish students from harassment and discrimination. He imposed maximum sanctions on Iran. He stopped giving $500 million in funds to the PA as long as the PA pays Arabs to murder Jews. He stopped funding UNRWA, which teaches Arab children to hate Jews and to harm Jews. He publicly authorized that Judea and Samaria residents are there legally, recognized as legal. He reversed discriminatory labeling regulations that facilitated boycotts against Israel products made in Judea and Samaria. He allowed Americans born in Jerusalem for the first time to list Israel as a place of birth on their passports. Before Mr. President did this, Americans born in Jerusalem could only write date of birth, place of birth, Jerusalem. Because of President Trump, they now can say Jerusalem, Israel. He uprooted the last known Nazi war criminal in the U.S. after years of inaction. He appointed the greatest friends of Israel to important posts affecting U.S.-Israel relations, as opposed to this administration. And he's the first president ever to pray at the Holy Western Wall. No president ever did. And of course, for all these reasons, and for the Abraham Accords, Mr. President, you deserved, unquestionably, the Nobel Peace Prize for your extraordinary work. Extraordinary work. So it is my honor and my privilege to present to you the 45th President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump.
Wow, what a job he did. What a job he did. That's passion. Only people that have passion like that succeed. I've seen that over the years, and that's true, and you have it, and thank you very much, Morton. Again, I want to start by just welcoming everybody. This has been an honor for me, and you know, the invitation said, tuxedo optional. And I think I'm the only one. No, we have a couple. But actually, and I always do the optional. I always take the other option because I hate putting on a tuxedo. But in honor of Israel, I decided that I think I should wear a tuxedo tonight. So that was very important. So, Mort, thank you very much, and for your tremendous leadership of the Zionist Organization of America, as well as the National Board Chair, a friend of mine, and a great lawyer, maybe the greatest lawyer in our country. In many ways, I really believe that David Schoen. David has been incredible. A very talented man and a good man, and he loves Israel very much, don't you, David, huh? Very, very, very much. We talk about it a lot. Let me also recognize Jason Greenblatt, former, where's Jason? Is he here? Jason? Hello, Jason. He's a good real estate lawyer. I'll tell you, you're a good other kind of a lawyer, but he's a good real estate lawyer. Great one. That's great, Jason. Nice to see you. Former Ambassador Pete Hoekstra. Where's Pete? Pete, I didn't see you there. I'm sitting right next to you practically. What a great gentleman he is, and he was an early supporter, very early supporter, and he's fantastic. Michelle Bachmann, thank you, Michelle. Thank you very much. And Dr. Skinner, thank you. What a job. That was a beautiful job. Thank you. Please stand up. Thank you very much. Great job. I appreciated your words, and good to see you again. Matt Schlapp. We all know Matt Schlapp. CPAC. Rita Cosby, my friend. Thank you very much, Rita. Thank you very much. General Amir Avivi of Israel. Thank you very much, General. Good generals over there, right? They need them. I must tell you, you need good generals over there. You don't have them, you won't be there long. That's unfortunate. So I assume you're good. Are you good? Yes, he is. He says yes. Members of the Israeli Knesset are here, a lot of them, and we appreciate that very much. Great respect. Amir Ohana. Amir Ohana. Good, thank you. And Simcha Rothman, thank you. Simcha, thank you very much. That's great. Tonight I stand before you proudly to accept the Theodore Herzl Medallion. To everyone here at the Zionist Organization of America, thank you for bestowing me with this incredible honor. It really is, especially when Mort read some of the names that received it. And I didn't see any clinkers in those names. It wasn't like Joe Smith. Who the hell is that, right? There were no weak ones in there. That's a good group. So thank you very much, Mort. That was great. More than 125 years ago, Herzl dreamed of a Jewish state in the Jewish homeland. Herzl wrote, "The Jews who will it shall achieve their state. We shall live at least as free men in our own soil," and that's so true. "The world will be liberated by our freedom, enriched by our wealth, and magnified by our greatness. And whatever we attempt there will be for our own benefit, will rebound mightily and beneficially to the good of all mankind." You see how that worked out. Incredible, actually. Beautiful words. Half a century later, after the Jewish people had endured and persevered through the bottomless evils of the Nazi Holocaust, and that dream finally came true. That was a big dream, and it came true. Today, the State of Israel stands as a living tribute to the unbreakable spirit of the Israeli people and the glory of Almighty God. What an achievement. Out of the generations of suffering and from the heart of an arid desert has emerged a proud, mighty, and thriving nation to inspire the entire world. Great. The United States and Israel are not just allies on a military basis, but economically and politically, we're allies morally, culturally, and spiritually, and we always will be. At least if I have anything to do about it, I will tell you. But some people, you do have some people in this country that don't, thank you very much, but you do have people in this country that happen to be Jewish that are not doing the right thing for Israel. You know that, too many. In fact, just as you were saying how much we've done, as you know, the Democrats get 75% of the vote, which is hard to believe, right? No, it's hard to believe. We can't let that continue. I think we're going to have to work. We're going to have to listen to Morton, David do a little speaking, I think. You're going to have to give a little lecture to some of the people. You understand what I mean? It's hard to believe. When you say all of the horrible things that have taken place with Biden and Barack Hussein Obama, and then they get 75% of the vote. What the hell is going on here, Mort? But we're going to get it changed. I mean, they have to. They really have to. They need more support. There's people in Congress that hate Israel, and nobody thought when I was growing up, and really as probably close as even 10 years, but certainly 15 years ago in Congress, I think Israel was, you couldn't touch Israel. You couldn't say a bad thing about it. And today, what they're saying, you mentioned AOC plus 3. It's really AOC plus a lot more than 3, unfortunately. It started off with 3, now it's a lot more than 3. We have to stop that. Israel's too important, too vital, and you have to think about it. As president, I was proud to be the best friend. This has been stated by many, so I'm just repeating it, but the best friend the state of Israel has ever had in the White House. I think that's certain. Under my leadership, the alliance between the United States and Israel had never been stronger. The future of the Middle East had never been brighter. It never looked brighter. And today with you, and these have been repeated, but I'll go over them very quickly. I withdrew from the disastrous Iran nuclear deal, which I actually think maybe is the single most important thing, and that includes Jerusalem and everything else, because they want to destroy Israel. But it threatened Israel with nuclear destruction, and they are to this day, and I imposed the toughest ever sanctions on the Iranian regime, and we would have had an incredible deal worked out, but we had an election which was far better than my first run. We did much better than my first. We got many, many millions of more votes. We got more votes than any sitting president, David, in history. You know that very well. And something screwy with our elections, as you probably know, and because of that, we're now in a very bad position. Iran was weakened. Iran was ready to make a deal, and they are now very wealthy. They're now getting and selling oil from and to China. China's a big, big buyer, and when I was there, I told China, you can't do that. We're not going to do business with you if you do it. And they were doing no business, and they were ready to make a deal, but now it's a much different place. What's taken place in a short period of time is incredible and incredibly bad for Israel. In my first trip abroad, as president, I summoned together the leaders of the world's Arab and Muslim nations. You'll remember that, and urged them to vanquish radical Islamic terrorism from their societies. It was a very important day and very important week. This helped pave the way for really historic progress. Working with both our Arab and Israeli partners, the U.S. military destroyed the ISIS territorial caliphate, 100% of it, 100%. Not 98 or 99. It was 100%. People were shocked. People were surprised, and we did it rather quickly. I was told by some of our television generals it would take 3 years, and I said, really? Really? And I went, as you remember, to Iraq, and I met with other generals. You know, we have great generals. You don't see them. They're not television generals. They're real generals. And I met with a General Raisin Cain. Did you ever hear of Raisin Cain? Matt heard the story. Raisin Cain, General Raisin Cain said to me, I think we can do it in about 3 weeks, sir. I said, 3 weeks? They tell me 3 years. And it probably, you know, we can do it in 3 weeks. If you give me the order, I'll do it in 3 weeks, sir. And you know what? He did it in 3 weeks, and we got rid of it. We got rid of it. For decades, every previous president had promised to move the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem. You know that. This has gone on for decades, everybody, every one of them, David, right? And they never kept their promise. And I did. But I will tell you, there was tremendous pressure. I was really upset with them. I'd say, why wouldn't they do it? Why wouldn't they? But when I got to the White House, I was called by every leader. And I certainly will tell you, every leader in the Middle East, and most leaders even outside the Middle East, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. So I devised a great scheme. I knew what they were calling about. You know, they'd always have a reason to call, and it was about not moving the embassy to Jerusalem. And I said, all right, look, tell them I'll call them back next week. I'm going to call them back. I'm so tied up with something, which was this move, that I'll call them back next week. And these are the biggest people, the most powerful people, all people that you know very well. And they wanted to know, they wanted to speak to us, very important. I call them back next week. But before next week, I said, let's have a news conference today. And we had a news conference, and I announced that very important thing. I kept my promise. And I officially, and I officially recognized the eternal capital of Israel. We soon opened the American embassy in Jerusalem, and that was a great thing. And then I called her back after that. I said, hi, how you doing? Everything good? How's your country doing? Good, good, good. Okay, you called me last week. What's up? What do you want? I had about 25 of those calls, if you want to know the truth, Morton. A lot of those calls, but that was a lot easier. and they just said to me, we wanted to try and talk you out of it. It's a little late, isn't it? I said, yeah, it's done. It's done. And you're right. It was no bloodshed. We were told the entire world was going to blow up. And as you know, something that nobody talks about, we also dealt very strongly with the Palestinians. And everybody went to the Palestinians first, and so did I. We went to the Palestinians first to negotiate, and we couldn't get anywhere. They were just, very difficult. They treated me nicely, with respect, but they were very difficult. And I said, you're never going to make a deal if you're going to go here first. You have to maybe go to them last. And I said, how much money do we pay to the Palestinians? And it was $750 million a year. That's a lot of money. And not a lot compared to what we pay to other people and for other stupid things, if you want to know the truth. Very stupid, unbelievably stupid things. But they said $750 million. I said, well, they're saying really bad things about all of us. And they're saying death to the USA and death to Israel and all this. Why are we giving them $750? And I stopped payment. And I did indeed. I stopped, and we would have had to deal with them. Had we been there, we have the 4 countries and the Abraham Accords. We would have had to deal with them, absolutely. But I asked somebody from one of the other administrations, did you ever think of stopping payment on the $750 million that you pay them all the time? And who knows where it goes? I can imagine where it goes. They said, sir, that's not the way we do business. I said, then you're stupid people. They didn't do business like that. And another one is I recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. And, Miriam and Sheldon, who are really great friends of mine, and I want you to thank them very much. Thank Miriam very much, and Sheldon, we miss him greatly. He was a great guy, and I'll tell you, he lived for Israel. That is a man you didn't have to talk to about Israel. He lived for Israel, but he was great, and his wife is equally great. She's incredible, and I appreciate her statements. But the one thing, they didn't really even talk about Golan Heights because they figured that one they probably won't get. And one day I said, tell me about Golan Heights. I went to Jason Greenblatt, and I went to our great ambassador, and I said, tell me about Golan Heights. Do me a favor, keep it under 3 or 4 minutes because I'm busy. And they told me about the protection and on high and how for 52 years, that was 3 years ago, for 52 years, planes would come into Israel in different places. They'd meet, and they'd meet every year, Jason, right? Then they'd talk and drink and have fun and have parties and leave, and nothing would ever happen. So I made a decision. I would say the decision took less than 5 minutes, that we should recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. And that was one that most people, even Sheldon and Miriam, but that was one that most people didn't even ask about because they said, that's too much, we can't do that. What they wanted is more than anything else, they wanted Jerusalem, and they wanted to have the embassy in Jerusalem. One of the things we did is they walked into my office, one of the generals, sir, what is it, General? I have something for you to say. What is it? $2 billion. We're going to buy $2 billion, and plus we're going to build an embassy because I had already approved it. I say, why $2 billion? And how do you do a one-story building? Any real estate people in this? How do you do a one-story building for $2 billion plus the land? So I called up David Friedman, and I said, David, the ambassador, did a really good job, too. I called, really good job. I said, David, you're over there. Do we have any land over there? The United States always has a lot of land because we were there for a long time at every place. We're always there for a long time. And he said, well, I'll check, because they wanted to buy a bad location for numbers that were crazy. And I said, doesn't seem right. Do we have a better location than that? A better piece of land? And he calls me back the following day. We have the best piece of land. And you all know exactly where it is because that's where the embassy is built. But we have the best piece of land, and it's very big, and it has incredible views, and it's much better than what they were looking at. And it costs us nothing. And there's a building on it. and I think we could renovate the building. I said, how much? He said, I'll call you back tomorrow. Calls me back tomorrow. Sir, we can do it for $275,000. That's much less than $2 billion. And it's the first time I've ever done this. I said, David, that sounds too cheap. Make it more. Usually I say, we could do it for better. But, you know, for $275,000, that doesn't. But the building was a very solid building, very good. It had everything. It was even set back from the street because for, unfortunately, terrorism reasons and other reasons, you wanted set back. It was set back far further than what you had to do. And I said, let's make it $500,000, David. $500,000, not $2 billion. And we got it built in 4 months, and we opened it. So, because otherwise you'd still be negotiating for the original piece of land. Nothing would have ever, it wouldn't have been built for 20 years. I mean, I just know, unfortunately, the way it works. So we got it open, built. And a friend of mine, I tell the story, he's very proud. He's a very proud person, an incredible Jewish believer and a believer in Israel. And he's very proud of the fact that in his office space, in a beautiful big office building in New York, he has Jerusalem stone. As you leave the elevators, you look at Jerusalem stone. Some people know who I'm talking about. Big, strong, powerful guy. Loves Israel. And every time I walk in, he says, look at this Jerusalem stone. I say, how many times do you have to tell me about Jerusalem stone? So it was in my head. So I said to my people that are doing the building, I said, can you get Jerusalem stone for a good price? He said, it's the cheapest stone we can get. It's all over the place. And we built the whole embassy in Jerusalem stone. Can you believe that? And we got it done for less than $500,000. And only a fool would want to change it because that's nicer than a building if they spent $1 billion on the building. This is better and it's nicer. And it was a great honor. It was sort of an interesting story because we got it done. We got it built very quickly. And when we opened it, it was just something that was sort of a miracle to a lot of people, especially. A lot of great Jewish people, they felt it was a miracle. And you know who else? Evangelicals. You have great allies with the Christian evangelicals. Incredible, actually. They love Israel. But I withdrew from the corrupt, hypocritical UN Human Rights Council. As you know, it was terrible what they were doing. And in so many other ways, so it's got such potential. The UN, to me, has such potential, but it's not being used or utilized. I mean, when do they do peace? I mean, the deal could have been made so easy. It would have never happened if I were president. The Russian invasion of Ukraine never would have happened. But the United Nations should be doing this stuff. This should never have happened. I know President Putin very well. I know Zelensky very well, great relationship with him. And this would have never, ever happened. What a shame to see all these people dying, and the numbers are far greater than what you hear. You know, you see a city blown up, buildings crushing to the ground. Many of those buildings are loaded up with people, and then they'll say 2 people were injured. No. Hundreds of people were killed. Not 2 people were injured, hundreds of people. They don't say it. When you go into a city and you obliterate it, you don't lose 2 people, or you don't get a couple of people hurt. You lose hundreds and hundreds of people. The numbers are far worse than what you hear. But the United Nations has tremendous potential, but they have to use it. There's a deal that would have never happened, and it could be that Taiwan is next. If you look at Taiwan and you look at what's happening with China right now, it looks like that's going to be perhaps next. But it became nothing but a forum for the world's worst human rights abuses to attack America and Israel. The only democracy in the Middle East, really a great democracy, too. I appointed a special envoy to combat the scourge of anti-Semitism worldwide and here at home, and used every resource, thank you, at my disposal to stop the growing specter of anti-Semitism on college campuses. We've done a great job on college campuses. Who would think that that would be even necessary? It's not even possible to believe. But we did a great job on college campus. And last but not least, we created peace in the Middle East with the historic Abraham Accords. We're so proud of that, Jason. So proud of that. The most important breakthrough for peace in generations. It's just nobody believed that was possible. The only sad thing is that it should be going much further. They could have, I think we would have had everybody signed up by now. Every single, they've increased it by 0. I mean, they have nothing, just nothing. And they actually do respect it. They hate to say it. They don't like to say it. They don't like to talk about it, but they do respect what we did. I'm talking about the Biden administration. The problem is they have nobody to do anything with it because we have other countries that are dying to go in. You could have total peace in the Middle East and quickly. With the Abraham Accords, we enhanced Israel's security, we improved the lives of the Israeli people, and we created incredible opportunities for economic growth, incredible actually. And now you see planes going back and forth, which nobody ever thought it could happen. And these were 4 really respected nations as our first. Tragically, under the Biden administration, these amazing achievements are being deliberately halted and even reversed. From the day he took office, Joe Biden has been groveling to the Iranian dictatorship to re-enter the Iran nuclear deal, which, by the way, and I'll say it again, it was the best thing I did for Israel. I think more important than anything else. More important, because they truly want to destroy the country. And it was interesting because when David was mentioning some of the points, mentioned that, but that really, it was in many respects the most difficult thing because I had a lot of people within the administration, a lot of people within the military, they didn't want to do that. And now they all admit that I was right. And now and yet Biden goes in and he's trying to make another deal that's actually much worse. It's a worse deal. It's not even, frankly, believable. But he unilaterally lifted the key sanctions, enriching the world's top state sponsor of terror. In exchange for absolutely nothing, he got nothing. You know, as people that like to think in terms of negotiation, I do. I think you should get something for doing what we did, but he got nothing. Biden's shocking weakness helped provoke a sustained missile assault on Israeli civilians, which is unthinkable that could have happened. It would have never happened with me. That tragically killed actually many people. They don't know the number. Rather than standing with our ally Biden, shamefully criticized Prime Minister Netanyahu and Israel for defending itself. All you're doing is defending yourself. It's hard to believe. I remember that whole period of time when they were being criticized for fighting back just a little bit. They didn't fight back much. They fought back a little bit. And they were being incredibly condemned. In addition, Biden appointed numerous anti-Israel radical leftists to key government posts, including those who have supported the anti-Semitic BDS movement that calls for economic warfare against the state of Israel. And these betrayals are outrageous. And they're just unacceptable. It's so unacceptable. Under Republican leadership, and I can't say all Republicans, because you have Republican presidents that didn't do a damn thing for Israel, okay? But I did. And you have to be careful with the people you put in office. Because we will, speaking for myself and my administration, and we'll be making a statement on Tuesday night. We'll see what happens. We'll keep you in this massive suspense. Everyone's saying, oh, gee, I wonder what he's going to do. But we'll defend our interests and our shared security. We'll advance the cause of liberty, and we'll protect our sovereignty, and we'll secure our borders. And that includes, we're helping your favorite country outside of this country, I guess. Does anybody love Israel more than the United States? Am I allowed to ask that question? They're going, let's not get into that, right? Let's not get into that, David. But you love them both, and we'll preserve our great Western biblical tradition, which indeed it is, and will ensure that the United States and Israel stand strong and proud and free as nations for many, many generations to come. And again, I want to thank everybody, and Morton and David in particular. We really appreciate it. And I just leave by saying Israel is a very, very special place. It's an amazing place. It's really a miracle, if you think about it, what Jewish people have gone through and what Israel has gone through, and all of the incredible work and incredible brilliance to have it have it shaped the way it's been shaped. But it's very delicate, and you have to be very careful with it because really bad things can happen. And so I just say I am with you all the way. I love Israel. I love everyone in this room. And this is a truly great honor. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you.